Picking a niche on YouTube feels impossible.
You've got too many interests.
Too many ideas. And every YouTube guru keeps saying stick to one niche. But what if that advice is holding you back, and what if choosing a niche isn't as important as everyone makes it out to be? I've been there, stuck, overwhelmed and second guessing every decision, but after going through my own niche crisis and coming out the other side with clarity, I want to share the myths about niching that might be keeping you stuck, why most creators don't start with a niche and why that's okay, and how to actually choose the right niche for your channel. But if you're like me, you've probably spent hours watching YouTube videos on how to choose the perfect niche, but instead of finding clarity, you're left with conflicting advice, second guessing your decisions, and a recurring feeling that you're just doing it all wrong, which eventually leads to internal conflict, and then exhaustion. But when I first started on YouTube 2 years ago, I threw myself into the music niche because I loved it. But by the time I wanted to change the direction of my channel, I felt like I dug myself into a massive music niche hole that I just couldn't get out of. So by the end of this video, I want to help you learn how to avoid the mistakes that I made when it comes to choosing a niche. But first we'll debunk the myths that might be keeping you stuck, and then I'll show you how to choose a niche that aligns with your goals and how to pivot if you end up changing your mind later. If you've been searching for an answer to your niche in crisis, then you've probably been led to believe some myths that are actually holding you back from picking a niche. Like, have you ever caught yourself thinking, I can't start a YouTube channel because I'm not an expert in anything? It was one of the first misconceptions that I had to deal with, and it's a myth that stops so many potential creators from even picking up a camera. You see, being an expert in your niche on YouTube is not a requirement for success in your niche on YouTube. But here's the crazy thing. Over the past year, I've earned over $4,000 through YouTube alone, even while working a 9-to-5 and having multiple other commitments too. But I wasn't an expert at all in the area that I provided services in, which at the time was optimized websites, which basically means to make websites more likely to sell a product. But I was at least 2 steps ahead of the people that needed my help. By the way, I had no background in business and I never attended business school. I just learned what I know now about making sales and building a social media business by simply starting and doing a lot of working it out as I went along. But the thing is, the fastest way to become an expert is by simply starting. You don't need to know everything, you just need to know a little more than the person 2 steps behind you. When I first started making music content, I wasn't an expert. Actually, I was far from it. But I decided to share what I was learning and how I was applying it. And the crazy thing is, people started watching. Not because I was a professional or had some incredible degree in music theory, but because I was relatable. I'd gone through what they were about to go through, and I was teaching from that perspective. I wasn't a master in my niche. I was just 1 step ahead, sharing what I was learning on my journey. And actually, this process is something that I call content synthesis, where you learn something, apply it, and share what you've discovered. Each video that you make reflects on what you've learned. Maybe that's from the past week or the past 2 weeks or even the past month. And each video helps others avoid mistakes and succeed. And here's how it works. You learn it, pick something that you're curious about, apply it, try it out in your own way, and share it. Make a video about what you've discovered. You see, once you've learned about a topic, you can position yourself as someone who knows about that topic. So you don't have to frame the video as, I'm learning about X, here's what I've learned. You can come from the perspective of, here's what I know about X. But what this process has taught me is that you're always 1 step ahead of someone else, and there's always someone out there that needs to hear what you know, even if it does feel small. You might think that your knowledge is basic, but for someone else, it could be a breakthrough. And this content synthesis process will turn you into the expert that you've been waiting to become before you know it. But another common myth is that you need to pick a niche immediately, which inevitably leads to analysis paralysis, which stops people from even attempting to make a video. So the focus for beginner creators should be on making videos and improving by at least 1% each time, rather than worrying about picking a niche. You see, you could start out in niche A, which could lead to niche B, but you might not find what you truly want to make content about until you get to niche E, which is exactly what happened in my case. But even some of YouTube's biggest creators started out in different niches before finding the niche that they're in now. But these creators didn't niche down too early. They explored their curiosities, got good at making videos, and eventually found the niche that they love making content about. But let's question the advice itself. Is niching down always the best move for a creator? Because while it's often repeated as a must, the truth is a little more complicated. To answer this, I like to use what I call the niche growth circle. Imagine starting a pottery channel. At first you create videos that cover broad pottery topics, making clay bowls, glazing techniques, and the basics of wheel spinning, things that beginners are interested in getting better at. These videos represent the outer ring of the niche growth circle. Now the middle layer is where you start narrowing your focus, maybe videos about advanced glazing techniques or how to achieve unique finishes. These videos appeal to intermediate potters who are becoming loyal viewers. These viewers aren't quite in the inner core yet. But finally, you have the inner core, which is your super niche content, which might include videos like advanced kiln maintenance for professionals, or 10 expert tips in perfect kiln firings. But these videos in the inner core are for the super fans that trust you as an authority and are likely to support your channel financially, whether that's through courses, memberships, or products. Fortunately, there are many ways that you can use this niche growth circle. There aren't any set rules. You could just integrate one of these circles into your content strategy, or all three. It's entirely up to you. So the outer ring is about reach, creating broad content to grow your audience. The middle layer is where you start narrowing your focus, and the inner core is for your super niche content, which helps to build stronger relationships with your audience. So the key really is balance, understanding that broad content helps get your channel discovered, more focused content helps to build trust, and super niche content helps to create super fans. So when someone tells you to niche down, it's not about choosing the outer, middle, or inner cores of the niche growth circle, but it's about using all three to grow your channel sustainably. But let's face it, deciding whether to niche down can feel like a life-altering choice. But the real question you need to ask before even choosing a niche is, why are you on YouTube in the first place? Is it for fun, or are you building something bigger, like a business? And answering this is so important and crucial for the growth of your channel, because your why is what will determine whether you keep going even in the tough times. Take YouTube as a hobby. At first it's amazing, you're creating purely for the fun of it. No pressure, no deadlines, just the joy of making something that you're proud of. But eventually that fun starts to wear off. You start realising the effort you're putting into ideating, writing, filming, editing, graphic designing and uploading, and for what? If you're not getting results, YouTube stops feeling like a hobby and starts feeling like a grind. And that's the position I got myself into when I was making videos about music theory and music production. I didn't have a strong enough why. But running a channel as a business has a different kind of reward. You're not just uploading for fun, but you're uploading to make impact, grow a brand, and let's be real, make money. But every missed target, every underperforming video hits different. But the beauty of having a strong why is that when you love what you're building and what you're building towards, the work begins to feel more like play. So how do you decide if a niche is worth it? Well, just ask yourself these three questions. Does this niche align with the vision I have for my life? Will I enjoy doing this long enough to stay consistent? Does it feel like a business that I can build, or am I better off keeping it as a hobby? It's so important that you take time to answer these questions, because at the end of the day, success on YouTube isn't about picking the right niche, it's about picking the niche that's right for you. But what happens when you realise the niche that you've chosen isn't right for you? Should you pivot, or should you start a new channel entirely? Well, here's what I learned from pivoting. Back when I started my channel in March 2023, I was focused on the music production niche. It seemed like a natural choice. Music had played a huge part in my life for such a long time, and I thought it could be a great way to turn a hobby into something much more. But as I kept making videos, something didn't sit right. Music became work and less of a creative escape. I realised I wanted to keep it as a personal passion, not a YouTube business model. But pivoting my channel wasn't easy. The thing is, the algorithm favours your existing audience. So when I shifted to topics like YouTube strategy and digital entrepreneurship, many videos underperformed. My subscribers weren't expecting content like how not to start a YouTube channel or guide to your first 100 Twitter followers. It was messy, my subscribers were confused, and honestly even I didn't know the direction the channel was headed. But the big question was, should I start over, create a new channel entirely, or should I stick it out and pivot? And a little side note, it was this point in time that I decided to get a YouTube coach, which was by far the best decision that I made for this YouTube channel and my business as a whole. So if you feel stuck like where I was and you want to find a niche that is actually going to help you to thrive in life and build a growing YouTube channel, then I would love to help you out, and you can find the details down below. Now, I decided to stay, and the real reason being I wanted to be honest with you guys about where I'd been to get to where I am now. But what I've learned is that my journey wasn't just about finding the right niche, it was about using those different niches that I've been through to learn how to make better videos. And it's a journey that I'm genuinely glad to have been on. But while experimenting with different topics and niches helps while improving your skills initially, there will come a time when you and your audience want to focus on making content around something more specific, a specific niche. So how do you choose a niche that's right for you, and when should you niche down? Well, contrary to popular belief, being a YouTuber is not easy. You don't just post videos, go viral and make money. Creating videos actually takes a lot of effort, and without a clear direction, it's easy to feel stuck. That's why finding the right niche is so important. When I started, I realised that I wasn't building a channel for the future that I wanted, which made it harder to grow, stay consistent and keep my passion alive. But in 2024, I finally made the decision to go all in on one niche, which combines my skills, my passion and years of YouTube knowledge. Now I'm doing what I love, helping other creators grow. Now, when I began, I didn't have all the answers when it comes to choosing a niche, but by asking myself a series of honest and hard-hitting questions, I began to find clarity. So to help make this process easier for you, here's a framework of questions that I used and wish I used earlier in my YouTube journey to help guide my decisions. Now, these questions aren't just about YouTube, they're about aligning your channel with your goals and the life that you want to create. But here's the thing, there's no right or wrong way to start on YouTube. The most important step is to start before you're ready, otherwise you'll never get started. And it's not about having the perfect plan either, it's about being willing to adjust, experiment and grow. And when you do, the payoff is far more than just a growing channel. It's about having the confidence in knowing that you've got a channel that aligns with who you are and where you want to go. But when you do choose a niche and you start making videos around it, you'll want to make videos that people actually want to watch so that they keep coming back for more. So I've put together this video that talks you through the key things that I've learned after studying what some of the biggest creators call YouTube's greatest video editor. And it'll teach you some fundamentals that you need to know about video editing that will keep your audience wanting to come back for more.